already incorporated, I felt it was the time. So it's important to listen to your intuition or whomever you listen to and follow that, that gut instinct, because it's you can tell you the right thing to do. So I had already started setting up for what I didn't know was coming. And January, I was unemployed by an employer outside of myself, and no one could understand, like, Yvonne, are you worried? Are you worried? And I wasn't worried. I was happy. I was good. I was putting in hours doing research because I didn't have a business plan at that point. I didn't have company certifications, didn't know any of that, but because I had met great people along the way in different places, I had resources where I could go and talk to them. They were always encouraging and still encouraging to this day. So I kept pushing, and I didn't get my first contract in 2009. I got it in 2010, and it was for an MDOT project. So going back to the beginning, when I had a little bit of experience with MDOT, I knew their different specifications and people within MDOT, like Paige and other individuals. So he was also a resource to go to. So I had that contract, and I got another contract. So I've only landed 2 contracts thus far, but I'm still pushing. And in the meantime, I felt the need to look for some part-time work, because you got to eat. So I sought work in the part-time field. And so now I'm the assistant director of public works for eCourse. So I manage the roads, and what they saw in me from there was, again, reaching back to the experience from other companies, what I did there, and then they saw that I was a self-starter, motivate myself by starting my own firm. So it's part-time, and I made it clear I'm building impact, so I need to be able to still do both. And that was important to me when I decided to go back into the workforce to find some work. It had to be with a company or someone that understood that this is what I'm doing. I'm passionate about my firm. In the meantime, you have me on temporary, borrow me to help out your firm, to help it grow. But so I'm there. I'm still pursuing my passion, looking for work. But in the meantime, that's where I need it. And I guess it's important to say that once you follow your passion, you'll know it because you'll be happy. It's not so much of, for me, how much income is coming in. I'm happy to serve others. And so I'm in a community right now that needs a lot of help. So it's not about, well, what's that paycheck at the end of the day, or the car I'm driving, or the house I'm living in. The most rewarding thing is giving back to the community for me and helping out. And so that's why I started my firm, and really to focus on those communities. So that's what the bank does.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to take questions shortly, but I want to continue with the panelists. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so you're jotting them down. If you need some cards, we have some cards we can pass around. Okay, great. Our next panelist is Andre Brooks. Mr. Brooks is President and CEO of ABE Associates. ABE is a full-service architectural, engineering, and surveying company that's headquartered in Detroit, Michigan. Mr. Brooks manages the day-to-day operations of the firm. He directs the administrative and management functions. He leads the business development. He has over 26 years of experience in planning, design, management, construction administration, municipal, educational, infrastructure, water systems, and facilities, wastewater, even industrial facilities and private projects. Ms. Brooks has been involved with the planning design of the airport facilities, in schools, apartments, commercial, residential. So, Andre, with that, I'd like for you to take it from there. We have a BS in Civil Engineering from South Carolina State College.
Good evening, everyone. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Graduated from South Carolina State, came up here in 1986. Graduated right out of college. I hired in with Hubbard and Clark out in Bluefield Hills. I came here with the idea that, okay, I'm going to come here, because I'm from South Carolina, learn as much as I can. In about 5 years, move back to South Carolina and, take what I learned and employ it there. And the next time I thought about it, I'd been here 7 years, and, I just thought about it a little bit, and the next thing I knew, it was 11 years. So, but I always had the idea that I wanted to have my own business. And so I started making preparations. I actually started the company in 1994, and I left the company I was working for in 1997. So what I did was I was doing little side jobs for people, getting the experience, building my portfolio in preparation for the move that when I was ready to leave, that I would have some experience to fall back on. And, I was pretty fortunate. The company that I worked for, I worked directly for a partner, so I prepared the proposals, I did the estimates, I met with clients, I actually did the design, he reviewed it. So it was the best of both worlds, and even with that, there were times when I wanted to go to maybe seminars or training sessions and I didn't get approved. Well, we had the software, we had the manual, so I did a lot of self-development. So in the cases where they wouldn't send me to trainings or seminars, I learned the software on my own. So during lunch breaks or on my breaks, I would experiment with it and learn the software. And it was funny one day, I used the software that the company didn't send me the training for. And so I rolled it out to my boss. And I said, well, here it is. I did it using X-Train. And he was really puzzled because he knew that he never approved me for the training. And he reviewed it, checked everything out, and everything was fine. So it was a good experience, though. Let's see. What should I talk about here?
Andre and I worked together at a firm, Think Body Panelists Stroud. Actually, I met Andre in '94, I believe, and it was at one of the Fundamentals of Engineering exams. And it's just funny how the world is, because we're civil engineers. And Yvonne knows, and I tell you, our circle of engineers within Detroit is very close-knit, and that network is extremely important for really helping advance each other. So Andre and I worked together with Infighter, and we started a company in 98.
Actually, 94, but I left in 98.
So tell us more about the ABU Associates.
Yeah, after leaving Think Body Panelists Stroud, I worked out of my basement, much like these gentlemen. I worked out of my basement until 2000. And it was a funny thing because a lot of companies didn't want to work with me because I worked out of my basement. And, I saw that as a cost-saving avenue, to have to be forced into leasing some space, and then you have all this overhead. But nevertheless, I said, okay, that's what it's going to take for me to get to work with you guys. I did that. And so since 2000 to today, I've been leasing space in the same building where I'm at. I started out with about 2,000 square feet, and now I have 4,000 square feet of space. My firm, we provide, I'm a civil engineer, but we provide full service architecture, engineering, and surveying services. So it was extremely tough because being a minority, we had other minority firms that were already out in the field. So it was tough to find a little niche area. So I had to be very creative in pursuing projects and marketing projects. It was like I was a little brother. We had some other larger minority firms that were out there, which they would always get the first call. And so by the time it got to me, they wanted me to come on board for maybe 1-2%. And it's like, well, wow, I can't run a business off of 1-2%. So I started doing strategic partnerships with other companies and going after projects that national firms are going after. So I started competing with the big boys, and I won some projects. You know, won the first one, and won a couple more, and I'm talking 5-year, $5 million projects. So, you know, it really paid off, and but it's a lot of hard work, you know, a lot of hours. You know, I'm happy to still be married for the amount of time that I've put in with the business. You're talking sometimes 14-hour days. Even when everybody else is paid, sometimes I don't get paid, because that's just the nature of the business.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to give my bio, just a little introduction of myself. Onyx Enterprise is a company that I established in 2007. I launched the firm full-time in 2011. And Onyx, I'm a certified woman-owned small business that's headquartered in Detroit. My company provides engineering consultant services, project management, construction management, and even permitting services to local, state, federal government, even contractors. I was born in Natchez, Mississippi. A lot of people believe that I'm a Detroit native, but I was born in Mississippi, raised in Detroit, attended Detroit Public Schools, went to Murray Wright. I have one of my classmates from Murray Wright back there, and also from U of M. Upon graduating from Murray Wright, I went to U of M, graduating in structural engineering, civil engineering in 1993. So from 93, actually started my first, I would say, engineering assignment when I was in high school as an intern. And I worked with MDOT. And from that time, from 1988 through 93, I was co-oping with MDOT. And from when I graduated from U of M, I worked with waste management, and from waste management to Think Fire, Patterson Stroud in Detroit. And from there, I worked there for about 11, 12 years. And through all these progressions of companies, I knew in my heart that I wanted to have my own firm. And just like Yvonne mentioned, it's just taking in and just soaking in as much knowledge as I can. I mean, I did everything with Andre said too, proposal development, working, being a client relations manager. I was out there in the field doing a lot of density testing, concrete testing, really getting dirty, doing surveying and bridge repair work. And then later on, doing a lot of the project management and construction management. That's my passion, and I said, you know what, I can do this too. And I had just as much as a relationship with these clients as the principals and the vice presidents of these other companies. I was the one that was in their office talking to the client and build the client relations. And like I said, you know, Andre and I worked very closely. He was a business development manager, and I watched Andre. Andre was, he was a hustler. He really worked the different clients. And when he left the company, Think Finder was acquired by Arcadis. And so from there, I went on to MECO. And when I was with MECO, which is a small minority firm, I watched everything that small company did. I mean, intended. And then I decided to launch my firm. So I had a contract with MECO, and one of the questions up there asked about how did you overcome your fear? How did you overcome your fear of really going out on your own? And my fear was not getting a steady paycheck. And I think that's a lot of our fear. And so with me, I said, okay, if I do this, I want to make sure I have at least one contract. So I went to the owner of the company. I said, you know, because he knew that I wanted to start my business, and that's important too, is to make sure you get buy-in from your managers and let them know that I'm here, but I'm learning. I want to learn from you. And he actually gave me a contract. I worked 16 hours a week, and I had money to pretty much pay bills. But at the same time, while I was working, I was getting my certifications. I was getting my, all the different Detroit-based enterprises. We all know about the certifications, and they are critical to get within the state of Michigan and Detroit specifically, because politically, to partner with different firms, you have to have these certifications. So while I was there, I got all my certifications, I developed my business plan, and one of the questions is, how do you prepare? How did you prepare yourself? My company was established in 2007. I didn't launch my company until 2011. During that time, I was basically, doing other things like real estate. I had rental properties and things of that sort, but I was preparing myself for my engineering firm. And with that, I had to build my confidence and knowing that, and building my skill set. So when I did go out, I had credibility to win some projects. So my first contract was with Medical Services, the company that I worked with. And then from there, I had another contract with PCI. It's another engineering company, one of our competitors in Detroit. Totally unrelated, but it was electrical. I'm civil, but I did project management of electrical projects. And then from PCI, I knew the Detroit Water and Sewer Department, Board of Water Commissioners, was looking for a technical advisor. So I interviewed for the role as a technical advisor. And I was so honored, ecstatic to get that role, because it's a major role to springboard my company, credibility-wise, and doing major projects. So that's what I do now. I have a contract, my company has a contract with the Board of Water Commissioners as a technical advisor. So that's the background with me. And now what I would like to do is open up for questions. We spend a lot of time talking about ourselves, and there's a list of questions on the back screen here. So if you don't mind, there's some questions that come. I'd like to get some interaction from the audience. You guys have been patient. Now we're going to do some talking. Got 2 questions.
My name is Carlos, and I am originally from Africa, and I guess I came here for a purpose. And I came here a mission because I love cars, and earlier I was kind of putting some ideas that I was working for the cars. And my English was not that good, and I had a lot of obstacles to overcome. And I took entrepreneurial courses, but after I found out that things got real rough on my way, because I was starting to be arrested by people, companies, like a group that calls themselves civil society, and they arrested me from jobs, robbing cars, anything that I buy is essentially to be robbed. I bought it a month ago. I went to New York. I put my bike up by Wednesday, and Wilfred's my friend. He knows everything that happens to me. It's just constant harassment. And I came from New York. I already knew the bike was going to be stolen, but I just wanted to make sure that actually the dream, the nightmare is not over yet. So as I was going to my bike, and I said, yeah, the bike is gone, And it's like, wow, it's just things that are bothering you, like, where's the freedom? Why this happened to me? Why, And I talked to other people. It's like, are you having a similar experience that I'm having? And it looks like I'm the only person I'm facing. And it's like, wow.
So what's your question regarding the business?
Yeah, actually, when I listen to all stories, I was like, y'all achieve a finish line, and I want to achieve the finish line. And actually, I'm struggling, like, how can I get to there?
Pretty much, though, you just need to identify, I'm not sure what your major is, but, identify something that you like doing, and you just got to go for it. Just knuckle down and go after it. But you got to put a plan together. You got to have a solid plan. You got to know the what, the when, the whys, and the hows, so you can approach it in the right manner. What are you studying? Okay. Yeah, but that's what I would advise.
I'll just add to that a little bit that most of us had spoke to some degree about having some sort of struggles, roadblocks we had to overcome. I mean, you kind of summarized the story, so we're trying to highlight some of the positive things and some of the results. But I don't know of any person, whether it's an entrepreneur or someone who's successful in a corporation, they have not had to overcome some obstacles or some roadblocks to get to where they ultimately felt they were successful. So consider these roadblocks kind of a present day roadblock, and one day hopefully it'll turn into a testimony of how you overcame them. I kind of have that kind of with a glass half full mentality. And I'm still going to work hard in spite of these circumstances to get to where I believe I need to go. And I agree 100% with having a plan. So I'm taking a couple classes. What is that for? You know, I'm taking a couple classes now. There are going to be a couple classes next semester. So going to have me in 2016 with a certain degree that I'm trying to see some employment and get some skills and one day be an entrepreneur. Kind of put your own plan together and work with it.
You know, organizations like this, you know, you want to become active because, you know, what you learn from it, the leadership skills, that's where I got a lot of my leadership skills from, being involved in organizations. When I was hitting the glass ceiling where I was, so in order for me to get around that, I joined all the organizations that I could. I got involved, and then they allowed me to go to these meetings, and I got to meet all these different people. And after a while, I started getting offers from the different presidents of the different companies and say, hey, we want you to come and work for me. So, you know, take advantage of organizations like this to propel yourself.
One thing I like to add is that make sure you have mentors. I had a mentor from high school. To this day, she's still my mentor, and she's a civil engineer, owns her own company. What I would recommend is look to someone that's in your industry that you want to go into and get the mentorship. And put a plan together, a 1-year plan, 3-year, 5-year. I tell all my mentees, once you put it on paper, it's a plan. And it's important to map it out.
One thing I want to throw in there too, you know, you mentioned a lot of unhealthy situations, people stealing things from you, gangs, all this kind of stuff. If you can, move.
Question I have goes to all the panel. What do you feel is the most determining factor to determine when it's time to basically give up your job and move on to your entrepreneurial idea?
You know, we face that issue, so I'll try that first. I would say that preparation is the key. I don't know what kind of business are you thinking of starting?
I had few different ideas. I've done, when I was like 24, I had a landscape business, and my entire business. And basically, I really wasn't prepared. I just quit my job and just because I went and focused on that. So I can come back in the corporate arena and start working. And then I just been like kind of tooling with a whole bunch of different ideas.
See, a lot of people do things backwards. And one thing to understand, one thing that you know, we teach in this entrepreneurship discipline now, the idea is the beginning of the process. It's not, you know, the be all and end all. So if you have an idea while you're employed, you want to explore that idea fully. Work on it, develop it, you know, do as much as you can, because as soon as you leave that job, you know, you have nothing. You can't borrow money. You know, you're somebody when you have a job. As soon as you don't have a job, you're nobody. So my advice would be to develop whatever idea, and don't feel bad if that idea, once you start looking into it, doesn't pan out. Just, you know, shift gears, move to something else, and eventually you'll find something that you feel comfortable with and that clicks, and you'll know when it's time, you know, to take that step out. But the last thing you want to do is to leave a job with an idea. You know, you want to leave a job and be ready to start making money, because you want that time, you know, that no income time to be as short as possible.
What I'll add too is the fact that you want to do a business plan. You know, business plans are important. It makes you think about all the business decisions that you're going to need to make for your business. So it makes you think about things that you would not have ordinarily thought about. And as you go through that process, you'll have a solid game plan. And that doesn't mean that you won't need to revise it maybe a year later or a couple of years later, because in our business it's static. So, it changes. So that's something you may want to consider also.
All right, I have a question for you guys. I currently live in the downtown area of Detroit, where it's like I guess the quote-unquote hub of like entrepreneurship for like Quicken Loans or certain organizations like that. And my question is, what are your thoughts about certain organizations or startups that will fund a particular idea, but they want a percentage of your company?
U.S. the cash rules. So one good thing about trying to work while you're trying to develop your own business is that you have the better opportunity to fund yourself. Now, it's depending on the scale of business that you're looking for. In terms of, do you need thousands, do you need hundreds of thousands? But, a lot of times we can fund our own business. You have a nice job, and instead of getting the navigator, you get a focus. You take that difference, invest in your own business instead of living in the 3-bedroom condo on the lake in Bloomfield, and you go to the 2-bedroom condo, on a busy street, and leverage your opportunities while you're making money to fund yourself, and then you have your own power. Because anybody who gives you money, they're going to want something for it. They want a return on their investment.
What I would also suggest is, look at partnerships. But in doing that, you want to make sure that you have control of what you're trying to do. I do that quite a bit where I will partner up with another firm that maybe I don't have that experience, but I'll partner up with another company. But I'll make sure that I'm controlling the project and I'm controlling the process. And, and whatever arrangements we have, I still have the final say on the whole matter. So you want to consider those kind of things as well.
I highly recommend the partnership. It's a way to go. But as far as the equity, I believe that's what you're referring to, is maybe an individual having equity, a percent equity in your firm. And there's a lot of organizations that offer that. Wisdom, Tech Town has so many, it's an incubator with all those different companies that you'll have to present to sell your business pretty much and see if you can get equity in that. There are also resources like PTAC that's at Wayne State. Abby Cheatham, she couldn't make it today. She's with PTAC. And PTAC offers so many different services, from certifications, federal projects, state projects. But I believe they offer resources too where they interface with Tech Town. I would definitely start with Tech Town, Wisdom, and as you mentioned, Dan Gilbert has so many different programs. You pitch it,
But here's the thing, I'm sorry. Here's the thing to consider. You got to think about why it is you're starting a business. Are you starting a business because you want to own a business? Or are you starting a business because you just want to make some money real quick and maybe move on to the next thing? You really have to have that firmly in mind, because if you sell some equity, and if you pitch your idea to one of these outfits downtown at an early stage, you're not going to have control in all likelihood, because if you come to somebody with no resources and an idea that's not well developed, they're going to want more than 50% of the equity. Okay, and so you're going to be working for somebody. So if that's not why you went into business, then you need to, as Dante says, develop your idea more fully while you're working. Use your own resources. You have a credit card, you got home equity, whatever you have. It doesn't cost much to start a software business. You need a laptop. You really need to be in touch with why it is you're starting a business before you even start approaching people.
Well, I guess my initial thought was go back to the argument where there's about I have a similar idea of mine. Once I sell it, so my idea was to
I would suggest that you do what you can do before, with your own resources before you step out there. I don't like any plan that says I'm going to lose money for a while. Sometimes you end up doing that, and sometimes it makes sense to do that. But what you want to do is to try it out. If you have this product, if you can show it to some people and get some people to pay for it, and then you can go to what we did was we spent 2 years developing our prototype. 2 years while we were working, and we would go to work from like 8:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock at night, and we worked in my basement from 8 o'clock at night until 2 in the morning for 2 years developing this product. But when we sold the company in 1995, we had no venture capital, we had no angel, we had, it was our money. So, again, you got to think about why you're doing it.
From what I heard from all of your panelists is that before you started your entrepreneur project, having business, you worked for some companies first. So may I know that, or would you advise that before someone starts a business of his or her own, he should go and work for other companies? Like I'm still like, I personally am struggling just to get a job in my field, but is that the way you are advising that before you start your own business, it's better to go and work for another company before start your project? And then another question is your book, the book in front of you, is it available in bookstore or sell?
Yeah, it's, Amazon and Kindle and BookBeat and Oak Park. Barnes and Noble.
So one comment, I think, we don't want to have too many maybe universal statements where we say you have to do something. But I think all of us worked for somebody else, and I think all of us told stories of God, gave that experience, helping us be probably better than we would have been otherwise at our entrepreneurship. Myself, I was an engineer. I'm operating as a concert promoter, but that program management skills, timing, leadership, as far as a real good way we evaluate people on leadership, helped me deal with, instead of dealing with white collar engineers, I'm dealing with, people in the music industry, some of them were high school, not even graduate high school. So I know pretty much all of us told stories that we garnered experience in our work that helped us in our entrepreneurship. So I think it's advantageous to say that you absolutely have to. There's people who have been successful who haven't necessarily worked for somebody else, but you usually gain something from, being around people, learning how to interact with people that you can take to your entrepreneurship. That's been my experience and my observation for me, entrepreneurs.
What I'll add to that is the fact that you need to know your client base. Is your client base going to require you to have some kind of experience? And that's the key. Is what your clients are going to be looking for, and are you going to be able to sell your services? And if they're looking for experience, then you got to have it. That's going to be the answer to your question.
And piggybacking off of what Andre said, as far as the client base, I think it is beneficial when working for another company. You get your name out there. It's an awesome networking tool. So you get to meet people that you'll potentially be selling your services to in the future. So for me, I was able to find out and meet the different engineers in different communities and different public works individuals, just people that are in charge of making decisions and actually signing the contract. So it's an awesome networking as well as experience.
And also, the client will definitely hire you based on your skills. But they're also going to hire you based on your values and that client relationship and that trust that you're going to have to deliver that project. And that experience is up there, especially in our industry. We're managing multi-million-dollar projects, and these are projects, civil engineers that hold the lives of all of us, roadways and bridges. And water systems. So you have to have your licenses and certifications. You have to have that experience to manage these projects and to design these projects.
I would say too, the common denominator from all these fields, civil engineering is different, but you have to have those certifications. Like you say, you build a bridge, that's serious, that's some serious engineering. But even in the software, but even developing an app, right? The common denominator is you have to have a core set of skills that's marketable. And so most of us got that from working for a company. You know, as I said, I went to Bell Labs to get those skills. When you look at Bill Gates, right? He didn't work for a big company. He dropped out of college. Well, he was working from when he was 10 years old, you know, writing software. Mark Zuckerberg, you know, he didn't work for a big company. So it's possible to get those skills in some other way other than working at a company, but you have to have that core set of skills that fits the business that you're trying to start, however you get it. But I think that, you know, I jotted down while Yvonne was talking and some of the other folks were talking. I think the common denominator is you go to work to get those skills, and it's not that big a risk. You know, if as an engineer, if you go and get those skills, you can market yourself anywhere. Like she was saying, she felt like, you know, hey, you fired me, okay, I'm ready to go. So people talk about entrepreneurship being this big, risky thing, but if you spend the time and do the homework and get the skills, and you have the characteristics, you know, it's particularly persistence and passion, I'd say you have a really good shot at succeeding.
I have a quick question. It's more of a detailed question, if you will, and it's actually for David Tarver. When you were in your basement for those 2 years developing this prototype, and I believe you said you worked with 2 other gentlemen to develop this prototype, when you were putting that together, what aspect of the operating agreement or your partnership arrangement were you putting together in parallel with the technology that you were developing too? Like, what were the key pieces of your like, how were you going to manage this partnership going
Between
forward?
us?
Yeah, between you all.
Yeah, I mean, that's a key, a very good question, because we didn't establish our relationship. We had a lot of trust between us, and we didn't establish our relationship until after we finished the prototype. And after I had left Bell Labs, and the second guy left Bell Labs a few months later, we sat down at a little pizza place, and I had to present to them the proposal for the ownership breakdown. First of all, I would say you never, in the kind of business that we were in, and in most entrepreneurship situations, you never want a partnership. You want a corporation, because the contributions are never equal, and a partnership is like a marriage. So, you know, if one partner falls out, it can destroy the whole thing. So I had to present to them what ownership breakdown I was proposing. And I proposed that I be the majority, you know, shareholder, and, you know, they got, you know, the rest of the shares. And I was nervous about that. I had sweat going down I didn't know if they were going to accept this deal or not. We had been working for 2 years already. And one of the guys said, man, I didn't expect to get this much. And so I said, oh man, I should have. but that's the kind of thing you have to figure. Every situation is different, and you know, you just have to have a feel for it. And we had more than 3 people working initially. We had like 6 people working in the basement, and some of them fell out. So you don't want to be from day one handing out stock, because you know you don't know how it's going to work.
But I do agree with that. I think when you're ready for that plan, try to have it be official. I know for ourselves at Fearless Entertainment, which we're kind of in a growth phase, we set up articles in the corporation once we really had a firm idea of the business concept. I had a lawyer friend who thankfully, you know, donated his services because it would cost a lot of money if we had to pay him. But we have like official articles of the corporation that set up our company, that if we become a multi-million-dollar company, those articles of corporation are solid enough for that. So I do think find the right time to set up the business officially, because you don't, if you, for whatever reason, you know, you don't wish the bad, but you kind of prepare, you know, have your legal documentation where you can protect yourself, and having something that's real solid and strong. And you can articles of corporation, I think, on legal Zoom if you had to.
Or you can have your accountant prepare, and it costs about $150.
So there's different options.
So you would advise against an LLC and go straight to a corporation?
If there's more than one person involved, yeah, I would say I like the corporate form best.
I do too, incorporated. S Corp is what my business is.
I'm S Corp too.
I'm actually LLC, but it's just myself. So.
And I'm LLC, this me, one other guy, and pretty much neither one of us could do the business by ourselves, so that was a manageable risk. I think a third probably been too much for us. So.
See, with an S Corp, later you can go to a C Corp.
Right.
And so since there were 3 of us, we just started out as a C Corp because we didn't want to have to take the profits out of the business. And with S Corp, everything flows through. And so we wanted to leave profit in the business. That we finance the business with the cash that we generate, so we had to leave it in there. So that's why it's C Corp.
It's important to have really good documentation too throughout the whole process. Keeping good records, working closely with an accountant, having a really good accountant, a good attorney, and really, it's your business. You have to be very organized.
I have one more follow-up question. Now, I'm recently being familiarized with like these legal forms and documentation. I also have my master's in business administration, but as far as like health and like your taxes and your preparation, do you all work with CPAs to do your tax, or do you do your own taxes? Work with CPAs. Okay. Now, are you familiar with health and that legal form and what that means? Okay. It's just another, I think, way of legalizing your business with the state, at least for Michigan, as far as I understand it. So I'm just curious in terms of tax management. With these small businesses, how do you, I guess I'm looking for insight or understanding in terms of your tax liabilities and how you make sure you manage that appropriately so that you don't end up in a situation where you're being like defrauding the IRS because of improper accounting practices or whatnot.
What I would say is, there are certain things that I do in-house and certain things I don't do in-house. My income, my taxes, I have an accountant that does all my taxes. My payroll is also outsourced. So all I do is call that into my payroll company. They take care of all the taxes. They even cut the checks, deliver it to my door, and just issue the checks.
And for me, I have my payroll through PNC, corporation, small business, and my accountant does all my taxes, as far as quarterly taxes for the state, my local, federal, all that's electronic. But my accountant takes care of all of that. But I do my payroll through PNC, so I do my own payroll and make sure that taxes go through my accountant reviews everything.
See, there are people out there who do taxes and payroll and accounting and legal stuff every day, right? That's all they do. You want to focus on your business, right? Do what you do, and other people can take care of that stuff. You don't want to waste time and energy on that. You want to make sure your business plan is straight.
How much time do we have?
Yeah, and then right after answering
Just real quick, I do have my own business right now. It's a DJ services, like music production business. And I just wanted to know, like you said, that you're working and you're doing your business at the same time. How is that ever a distraction at your company? Because like right now, a lot of times I'm working on the DJ services and music production, at night and then waking up early mornings and having to travel. And it does take away, from me, at work, and it does hinder my work performance. I try to balance the two, but it's really hard. And, at work, I want to be, this manager at work, but I know my passion and my heart, I'd rather, do more and spend more time with this business that I'm running. So I just want to know from your standpoint, how is that ever a distraction? And did your manager see it as a distraction?
No, well, I will speak on that. And, foremost, I was working for someone. So while I was working for them, I worked for them. On my lunchtime, on my break, that was my time. So that's the way I did it. So the whole time I worked at HRC, I worked there for 11 years. You know, I worked at least 10 to 12-hour days, and sometimes on Saturdays and Sundays. But I still had a passion for what I wanted to do. So when I left work, I was working on Monday until whenever I was ready to go to sleep. And I had to be to work at 7:30 every morning, and I was there on time.
I echo those comments. I think it can be difficult, but if you don't want your performance to go down, you know, put yourself at risk for termination. One of the things I used to do, I didn't speak about it in detail, I used to officiate basketball games. That's something I had a passion for. And in March, I still miss it. But I was doing better, I was hitting more games, but I had to travel a lot. So it was nothing for me to have to leave work at 3 o'clock, drive to Fort Wayne, Indiana for a basketball game, you know, do a game, shower, come back home 1 in the morning, I got to be back at work the next day at 7:30. Once I started getting a little bit of Division I and had to travel further, then I looked, it was one summer I had a chance to go out of state. I was getting games in Kentucky and up in the East Coast, but I was away from home a lot. I had a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old and a newborn. I said to myself, I don't think I can be a good, I said to myself, I can't be a good husband, a good father, a good engineering manager, and a good referee. So I get divorced. I'm headed towards 20 years of marriage, thankfully, next year. You know, I'm not going to be a bad father. I've been through that myself, so I'll be with my kids. I want to get laid off. You know, thank God, because, you know, who knows what can happen. So something had to go. So sometimes we have to make a tough decision, like, I can't do everything. So what can I do well? Because it's no good doing 4 things so-so. I mean, you can do 3 things well. The 4th thing might have to go. So that's something to think about. Because you cannot, at no point do we have the opportunity where we can't perform. We have to perform. We have to get there. I got your 5-hour energy, something alert, got to do it. And so you got to have that standard for yourself. Figure out your time management, and you can't accept anything less than yourself.
Yeah, you block out times during the week too. For me, my contract requires a lot of time with that particular client. So the evenings is my time, lunchtime is my time, and then I set aside maybe 1 or 2 days a week to focus on Onyx. So it can be difficult balancing it all, but you can do it.
Yeah, my question was kind of to the with all these accidents, they were also, you guys talked about that, I was wondering if there was like any sort of streamlined process or best practice to really do it. Because, I mean,
when you kind of look at what's out there and how to set it up, there's a lot of different ways. In Michigan, there's a lot of different resources and websites, and you start looking into it, and then you end up having 10 different tabs open, and you completely forget, you know, that what you're trying to do. So how did you guys navigate that? And is there any streamlined process or any kind of like one-stop shop where they kind of put it all together, especially for like minorities and, you know, people that really don't have that much experience in doing it before? Is there anything that you guys can speak to on that?
You know, you really want to look at the business market that you're looking at. I would advise, if there's some risk involved, you want to have an attorney involved, because they're going to be able to steer you, you know, between your attorney and your accountant. They're going to tell you what's the best fit for the kind of business that you're looking at.
so who are like the best accounts? You guys have like who would I go to kind of thing, or do you guys recommend people? That's what I'm trying to figure out. There's something out there where, you know, if I want to figure out your business assessment, you know, these are some good resources that you can start.
I would network and find a business similar to yours that you trust. And hey, what did you do? Because that's what we do.
I went to my mentor and I asked her which accountant do you use. As far as attorneys, I happen to have some attorneys, family members, but my accountant was so important to me, so I went to my mentor that has a civil engineer, and she recommend, and I use him to this day.
And you know, most attorneys and accountants, I think to this day, will give you a free consultation, right? So you can talk to 50 different accountants for free. And in that process, you'll get a lot of information. You'll develop a lot of information just from talking to all these different people. And you also want to find somebody who's going to work. First of all, you want somebody who's, as Dante says, has done things like, you know, businesses like yours, similar size and that kind of thing. But you also want somebody who's going to work with you and not charge you out the wazoo. They're going to work with you while you're small, hoping to do better when you get that kind of thing. So there's going to be a chemistry between you and that accountant, between you and that attorney, and the chemistry has to work. You have to feel comfortable with them, and you have to trust them.
All right, I want to thank everyone for participating. I think this was an awesome panel. If you guys can give them a round of applause. I did want to ask if each one of you can give us one tip. So just one tip that you want to leave with us, one nugget of information that you think would be beneficial for us, those that are looking to come out.
The one tip that I would leave, and if any of you want a copy of the presentation, I can give that to you. But to be authentic is to, I like this graph that I put together, is making sure you have all those three things in balance. And for me, is to know why you're doing it. Why are you in this business? And why you chose it. What's your passion? What makes you get up every morning and really want to just hit the pavement and work hard? I think that they have a balance between all of it, the reason why, what's your purpose and your values. And along with that is just to never give up, overcome that fear of failure. Because with every plan, you're always going to have to rework it. And just basically just be diligent in everything that you do, just work with excellence. And to have a network around you that is strong. And making sure you have positive people around you, get active in organizations like this. And as Andre mentioned, have a ton of them that you're involved with, different resources that you need. Have that network.
Geez, that was about 10 of them.
I
know. She took all the good ones, too. I have nothing to say.
Mr. Burkle.
You know, I would just say, don't be afraid to pursue your goals. You have a dream, go for it. But in doing so, prepare, plan for it, so you'll succeed.
I guess, for Andre and Deroit too, is to have a plan, but understand that in any plan that you have a beginning point and an ending point. And along the way, there's going to be some detours, there's going to be some traffic jams, don't get impatient, stay the course, be flexible, and through it all, no matter what you do in your plan, always be a person of integrity.
So the main thing I would say is if there's something that you're thinking about doing, a business that you're thinking about starting, the main thing is to just get started on some level. Start tinkering, planning, exploring, investigating. You can start tonight, cost nothing. And I always tell people that, my father, if he had not done that himself, he never ended up starting a business or anything. But if he hadn't done what he did, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So you never know where it's going to lead. Just get started.
Mine's a combination of what some other folks said. Follow your passion. Find something that you think you can do, that you're adding some unique value. Because I think that's a part of the success. Most of the successful business, they did something that other people weren't doing, and it was hard to replicate, and then kind of prepare. You can't just go out there and say, I'm going to start a business. Prepare. What is my business plan? How much money do I need? And follow your passion and prepare.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Just real quick, I was listening to Steve Harvey this morning, and he is inspirational at 6 o'clock in the morning. After that, it gets to be a little iffy. But one of the things that he mentioned is that there's always, there should only be a plan A. He said, never plan for failure. So if you have an idea or if you have something that you want to pursue, let that be plan A. You might end up taking a detour, like I've heard here, but your plan A is your plan A, and continue on that plan. But the key word again is plan. All right, you got to have a plan. You got to have an end goal. You got to have a vision, and you got to have passion. That's what I took away from this. So this has been very inspirational for me. So yeah, so I might end up being an entrepreneur. All right, but I do want to make a couple of presentations. So Chairman, maybe you can help me. All right, so I have certificates for everyone. I do have certificates for everyone, and we have a nice gift for everyone to take, our panelists to take with them. So we really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here, because you could probably be somewhere making millions, but you probably are already anyway. So the certificate says Certificate of Excellence awarded to, in this case, Andre Brooks, for your participation and support of the National Society of Black Engineers Detroit Alumni Extension Professional Development Programs. Thank you for helping to maintain the NSBE mission to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. November 14th, 2012. So thank you so much. You want to do one? We can do it. Yeah, we got a couple of them. Okay. So now that I've read them all, I don't have to reread them. Dante, Crockett. Thank you all for being patient. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, real quick, because I'm not going to go back up to the stage. If you have your agenda, you can follow along. If not, let me just give you a few items that are coming up. As far as our zone updates for upcoming events, this Saturday we have a community service event, which is Gleaners Food Bank, and the information is on our website. It's on our website, okay. And so the event starts at, is it 9 a.m.?
It starts at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Also, if you are interested
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. All right, so for Saturday, our Gleaners Food Bank event, we have 9 participants signed up so far. If you're interested in participating, you can see me. I'll be here for a little while after the event is over. And we're approved for up to 25, so if you want to volunteer, or if you want to sign somebody up without their knowledge, please let me know. Also, if you're considering volunteering at Gleaners, if you might also consider bringing a donation of a non-perishable food item so we can have kind of a NSBE group donation to give to them when we leave, I would appreciate that as well. So just a consideration. On Thanksgiving morning, we're also going to be volunteering with the Meals on Wheels, the Matrix organization, the same organization that helped the Walk for event, so the regular delivery drivers get a break for Thanksgiving Day. We'll be organizing that meeting at 7:30 at the Matrix Organization. Please let me know if you're interested in doing that on Thanksgiving morning, if you're not cooking like me.
Please come out and support our community service efforts. We also have a joint holiday event with Society of Women Engineers, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and NSBE. It will be in Deroit. Yep, and it's on November 30th from 6 to 9. It is a potluck event, so if you want to support that, we just ask that you bring a dish to pass. So, one other item that was listed outside is, bear with me please, should have been a little more prepared. All right, tomorrow there is an event with NABA. Somebody help me remember what NABA stands for. Accountants, thank you. And Lifting As We Climb, and actually it is a professional development series that they're offering as well. They want to talk about how you can roll over your IRA and build income for retirement. So that is probably something that you want to support, and that is on tomorrow. You can probably check their website for that event. Is there anything that I'm missing? Oh, scholarships. LaShawn, please come up. And let's talk about that real quick. I'll go pull the slides up.
Good evening. Tonight is our scholarship program kickoff. Here we go. So tonight is the scholarship program kickoff, and on the slide it says NSBE scholarship program. However, it's a little more personal than that. This is the NSBE DAE scholarship program kickoff. So everyone give yourselves a hand. This is our program. We're going to be doing this going forward for Detroit and Detroit area students. And I'm LaShawn Green. I'm the chair of the committee. Donna Bell and Nakia Williams are the committee members for this particular committee. Nakia, wave your hand, wave your hand. So we've been meeting and working on this effort for some time now. And the purpose of this program is to hopefully fulfill the NSBE mission. We want to target students from the 9th grade and the 10th grade and to give them tools for success, things that will motivate them to be successful going forward, and hopefully they'll go forward and pursue a college education in a STEM-related field. And we're also going to be targeting students from the 11th grade through graduate school up to the age of 24, hopefully to provide them with some type of monetary award, such as a scholarship. So those are our goals for the program. For 9th and 10th graders, tools. For 11th through graduate school, money. Okay, go to the next slide. The scholarship criteria that we've decided to use is we'll be asking the students to write an essay on how they can make an impact and fulfill the NSBE mission. We're going to look at their academic information, such as their GPA, their coursework. We're going to look at their extracurricular activities and their involvement, any type of community service or volunteer work they may have done. And we're also going to look at any type of honors and awards that they may have had. And this is usually pretty typical in a scholarship application. I've seen this used in other organizations as well, and we've been pretty successful at using this as our scholarship criteria. Okay, currently, the committee's focus has been on drafting our scholarship application, and we've done that. We have a draft of that. We have created some donation cards. Some of the other organizations that I participate in, they also have a scholarship program where they ask people that are members of the organization to make donations, maybe in the name of themselves or in the memory of someone else, or just because they'd like to make a donation to the scholarship program that exists. And we use these donation cards. It's been very, very successful as a way to raise money and get money for the scholarship program. Some of the things that we've talked about doing, we've talked about possibly having a silent auction. Have any of you seen the silent auctions that are used for fundraising? So sometimes those are very successful. I attended one a few years back for the Gift of Life Foundation. They had a silent auction at the Detroit Science Center, and it was very successful, and they were giving away trips and jet skis, just all kinds of things. It was a huge event, and it was a really good way for them to raise money. So we thought that this may be something that would be really good for us as NSBE that we may be able to do as well. And another thing that we've been working on as a committee, we're looking for a location to host this event. I work for DTE Energy, and I've noticed that DTE Energy, all kinds of organizations have been having events in our building. All type of nonprofits. It's very nice. They have Town Square, the Town Square area. It's our cafeteria, but they transform it into a very eloquent environment for these events and galas. They have tablecloths and chair covers and huge, beautiful center pieces. So my plan is to, and this still has not happened yet, Donna, but it will. My plan is to get with my mentors and get them to champion this, because as you know, we have to have champions for things that we try to accomplish. And at DTE, it's very important to have a champion for these events. So that's another thing that we're working on, is trying to get a champion to sponsor this particular event. And as far as other fundraiser ideas, I was at an event at the Arthritis Foundation last month, and I sat with this older couple, and this lady told me about this idea. Well, actually, it's more than an idea for them. It's a fundraiser that they actually use every year. And what they do is they go around and they ask people to donate books, or they'll have a book collection at some grocery store or a library or something like that. Then they collect the books, they take the books back, they price the books, and then they sell the books at a reduced rate to raise money for scholarships. And they give those scholarships out in the community. So that's another possible fundraiser ideal for the scholarship committee. And as you can see here, my theme really is money. We need to make money, come up with a way to raise money for these scholarships. I'm very, very excited about it. And we're looking for participation. So if you have any ideas and you'd like to be a part of this committee, see after the meeting. Thank you.
All right, so I just want to reiterate what LaShawn was mentioning about the scholarship fund. If you are interested, or if you so choose, please, if you want to donate to NSBE, definitely for our scholarship fund. A goal of ours is always to figure out how we can impact the community. How can we get more students involved in STEM-related fields? And the story that I shared last year was my godson. So those of you who've heard the story before, just a second, bear with me. My brother-in-law's godson was actually here at LTU, and he was attending for architecture. And he found out that the scholarship that he was awarded was actually retrofitted. They took it away from him because the company that had awarded it to him ran out of money. And so he had no way of continuing on in school, and he had to make a decision to actually go to work as opposed to going to school. And I would like to do whatever this organization can to make sure we can prevent that. If there is someone that is talented and that has the drive and the passion, they should not be omitted from getting a college education and pursuing their dreams. So This gentleman, I mean, he was very intelligent, graduated with 4.0, in a really bad situation with his family, but he just knew this is something I had to do. But when the money went away, he just couldn't. So I'm going to continue to stay on him, make sure that I know, that he is continually pressing forward. But we want to prevent that. We want to encourage students going to school. And the amount of the scholarships that we're offering do not pay for the entire amount of tuition, but it does support things like books or even room and board or something. It'll go towards them getting their college education, getting a degree. So please, whatever you can do, please support that effort. All right. I do have a couple more announcements. One is the SMART organization within ESD is looking for volunteers. SMART is an organization that they have a program centered around energy and the energy industry. And what they're doing is taking experts and putting those experts in Detroit Public Schools. There are, I know of Cody, and I want to say Henry Ford still open? Henry Ford, I think, is one of the other schools. But there are 4 schools where they are teaching this curriculum on energy. And I think it's very important because that's where we're headed. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. Most companies are looking at ways of being sustainable, how to be more energy efficient, and this is where the innovation is moving in at this time. So that is a very good program to be a part of. And then the other is the Future Cities competition. ESD every year sponsors this program, and right now they're having a hard time finding mentors that can mentor students in Detroit Public Schools. So if you have the time, I've sent out the email to most of the people on my distribution list, but if you have the time to be a mentor for these students, we could really use your support. What the students do is they do the research all themselves. They build a city based upon criteria that the Future Cities organization develops. So it could be a totally green city, or it could be an energy efficient city. It just depends on what the criteria is. These students have to do all the research themselves, and they have to build a model of the city that they develop. But they actually have to write a paper for it. So it's an excellent program, gets them involved, gets them excited and motivated about STEM. And for those that are out in the community or actually working in the energy industry, or even if you're not, you can mentor and you'll actually learn a lot from participating in the program. So I judge every year, and I'm looking forward to judging coming up in January. It's at the end of January. And last year we actually had one of the groups from the Detroit area go to the White House for the national event. So it's pretty exciting. And the students, they put a lot of time and effort into it. So if you get an opportunity to go to the ESD website, you can sign up there and you can become a mentor or a judge and participate and give your time back to the community. So did I miss anything? I don't think I have, I don't have access. Yeah, I don't have access.
Real quick, Ron and I, after the first meeting, we're revamping the NSBE website. It's not migrated yet, so it's NSBE domain yet, but simple is it's about 75% complete. I think it was realized, so we have graphics, people, and right now, if you want to take a look at it, it's NSBE.WordPress.
send out, we'll make sure we'll send out the link so everyone knows where it is. Now, the question that I had is, can we use the current the link and just put it to that site, or do we have to keep the new link? To the old, okay, all right. Yeah, I'm just concerned about the literature and things that we have up there, but if we can do that, great. If not, we'll just do a huge campaign to move things over.
I like that. I don't know if you're here know about the science, exhibition, and technology exhibition that Charles H. Wright is in the whole last Friday. Some of the members know about it, but for those that don't know about it, please come down and bring the youth and students as many teachers get the word out so they can see this fabulous museum exhibition at the Charles H. Wright. So the ongoing exhibition there, so try to fight into that. Kids out there.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to participating in that. And it might be even something that the STEM or NSBE junior chapters can participate in as well. And Samantha, you got it.
There's an event tomorrow, just I think it's entrepreneurs as well, but it's called Gallery Friday, and it's offered. Oh, sorry, it's on Friday. For Gallery Friday, and it's open to women. So if you're interested, I think you are on Facebook. So just try to get the word out there.
And who sponsors that, Samantha?
I'm actually not sure. I never got it through tech. I was just there last week and I bought it that.
Okay. All right, great. All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, with that, I want to thank everyone. Oh, we do have one more. All right. What?
Actually, BDPA, Black Data Processing Associates, they still have their own entrepreneur panel speaking at Tech Town tomorrow night at 6:30.
Okay. All right, and that is the information on their website?
Yes. So let's go to BDPA Detroit's website. You'll find it right there.
Okay. Awesome. So this is a theme here, right? So did you say this was Entrepreneur Month or week? Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. So we time that just right. Right on purpose. All right. Good. Well, I hope everyone was able to take something away, and I hope you are motivated and energized and ready to go. Figure out what your passion is and create a plan in order to become the next CEO of U.Inc. So thank you all for coming. I want to thank the panelists again for their time and efforts and for all the wisdom and information that they imparted on us. So I just want to give them another round of applause. And with that, thank you, everyone. If you so the meeting is adjourned, and there are still some things out in the vestibule as far as suites. Oh, and then also, don't forget to take advantage of, I'm sure, a ton of knowledge in the Proving Ground, and this is the memoir by Mr. David Tarver. And the book is available on Amazon and Kindle, so I'm about to purchase it on my iPad so I can have it. Take advantage of this. These are very valuable tools that we can use on our road to success. So thank you, everyone.